The computer or the one on the wall?
Computer.
I think they're both.
Oop,
Yeah,
6:30.
There it is.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna call the regular meeting for Tuesday, March 15th, 2022 to order. The time is 6:30. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence, followed by pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is consent agenda. Item A, reading of minutes of previous meetings. February 1st, 2022 regular meeting, February 15th, 2022 regular meeting, and then financial reports for February 2022.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have a question on the revenue summary report. What is budget equity change?
I'm sorry.
What is the budget equity change? What is that?
Where are you?
Oh, that's water sewer fund.
On the revenue center?
Under the general
Yeah, revenue
fund.
summary report. You got budgeted.
Under
change
other
for-
funds.
Well, it's on all of them.
That is the budgeted amount that we have every.
Yeah.
This is under every single one.
I think you should just ask me what that is.
That is the budgeted amount that we have for the overage for the year. The overage or in some cases, the overage or underage for the particular year. That hits the revenue, the reserves. This is on there every single month. That amount does not change. It's the amount that's on the budget.
Any other discussion? Call the council.
Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five,
Aye.
mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item is citizens' comments. Randy, you got anything? Steve, you got anything?
I have a comment. Could you update the council, I guess, at our next meeting or whatever, about the sewage problem on Bluebell and Wisteria the past week or so?
I can do that tonight, slightly. I can do some of that tonight during my city manager report. I can give you some information on where we stand. We do have some other sewer issues that I can loop into that as well.
Thank you.
And then I will continue to do more research to get you a firm answer on that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mandy, do you have anything for citizens' comments? Okay. So we'll move down to next item, which is presentations. I'm gonna turn it over to Landon. This is not on the agenda, so we're gonna make time for it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, distinguished city officials.
Fingers, that's laying it on thick.
We're about to start budget workshops soon. aren't we?
This facility will get you up for money.
Yeah.
That's how I do. About a year ago, we met and we did this with the two other lieutenants that we promoted. One of the things that I wanted to bring, as Chief Spencer brought me up, was bringing traditions that are customary to the fire service and make sure that we have them here. And one of them obviously being a badge pinning. Anytime somebody is off probation or promotes within the ranks, I'd like to give them a spotlight. So tonight we've got two. First, we'll bring up now Lieutenant Anthony Myers. He went through a very grueling lieutenant's process, a very, very lengthy lieutenant's assessment center that was put on by a number of our community fire departments. They assisted me with it. And after all was said and done, his scores were high enough to promote to the rank of lieutenant. So we're going to be doing him tonight. And then also, Clayton Brewster, you want to come up? Clayton Brewster, he has been with us for just over a year. So like I said, as customary, once they come off probation and they've met all the requirements of an FTO, then we honor them with the oath of office as a firefighter. So both of them. I'll give you these so that you can have your badge pinners here in a moment. We're gonna have to do you one at a time. Because they are slightly different. First, we will do Lieutenant Myers. You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Anthony Myers,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
I will faithfully execute
the duties as lieutenant for the city of Everman Fire Department,
the duties as lieutenant of the city,
to selflessly serve the citizens of Everman
to selflessly serve the citizens
with pride, honor, and integrity,
with pride, honor,
and to uphold the mission
and affection
of the Everman Fire Department,
of the Everett Department,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the state of Texas,
the state of Texas,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Everman,
laws and ordinances of the city of
so help me God.
Everett.
I state your name.
I, Clayton Brewster,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties as firefighter for the city of Everman Fire Department,
the duties of firefighter for the Everett Department,
to selflessly serve the citizens of Everman
to selflessly serve the citizens of Everett
with pride, honor, and integrity,
with pride, honor, and integrity,
and to uphold the mission of the Everman Fire Department,
and to uphold the mission of the Everett Fire Department,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the state of Texas,
the state of Texas,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Everman,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Everett.
so that
So
y'all would bring your who's coming up to opinion. This is
this is Natalie, this is my girlfriend.
and
Nicole.
as Chief Central would say, if you don't stab them and they don't leave.
I'm sorry, I'm standing
Oh, through the slots. They never make it.
He hasn't
simple,
screamed
do
yet, so you haven't
they?
Stab harder.
Just don't stab yourself. That's the hiccup.
I've been on the other side of that, I know. Hard.
I knew.
And one other thing. Ordinarily, we do give what we, once somebody promotes for probationary firefighter, they would promote from a yellow helmet or to a black. We don't do that here. We do a giant orange shield so everybody knows they're probationary. So they don't get a new color helmet. So unfortunately, Mr. Brewster doesn't need a new helmet. But obviously, when you promote with rank, you get a new color helmet. So we'll go ahead and pass that off as well.
Oh, wow,
All right. Gentlemen.
that's nice.
Get over there. Take a good one.
Hey, Craig,
Yes, sir.
did they sign that form we
Y'all get
talked about today?
They will.
Supposed to be done beforehand.
If Lieutenant
They haven't signed the
wants to
oath
go,
yet.
he's
Okay.
Brewster's lieutenant. So
Yeah.
he wants to-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, real quick,
Congratulations.
signature. Stand by. Real quick. Myers?
Did you sign the ones they had in their folders?
No, not yet.
Okay.
That'll run a chill through you.
We don't rush them, I don't want to let go. Brennan's up.
I think we're gonna-
I didn't want to interrupt this one. All right. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You and me.
Jennifer. I don't want.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next item is City of Everman 2021 Annual Report, item 22089.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you, you should have a copy of the finalized 2021 annual report. Thanks to Susan Mackey, Councilwoman Mackey, for her proofreading and bleeding all over the report. We have made a lot of typo corrections, and this is the final product in front of you. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any. But this one is already publicized on the website, and we're starting to push it out on social media this week. Any questions?
Everybody good?
It was a
Oh,
great
and the link
report.
will go on the bottom of the next water bill.
This whole report?
The link to the
Okay.
report, yes, ma'am, not the whole report.
Big fat water bill.
Okay, so move down to discussion items. Item A, review and discuss the proposed policies and fees related to the City Hall Annex. Craig Spencer, item 22091.
We're getting closer and closer to completing the City Hall Annex across the street. So with that, we were reviewing the policies that we have in place. And I actually tasked with Nicoletti with drafting and writing these policies. Mindy and Edna provided a lot of the initial input on some of the fees. We compared some fees to some other locations as well. And so we've got the recommended fees schedule within here. The attorney has reviewed the policies. There are a couple of changes, but the changes are just some legalese changes. They just want to change some of the wording. But as far as the procedures related within these policies, all those will stay the same unless you would like to make any changes to that. A couple things to highlight here. Historically, city staff, council members have always been permitted to utilize the facility at no charge. That led to some issues and things. So what we're proposing here is to offer a 75% discount for first rental a year. If they choose to rent it a second time within that year, it'll be at a 50% discount. Third time that year, there is no discount. They'll have to pay full price. That will assure that we're still making the revenue that we need to make from the investment that we've put into the facility, and it'll deter from some overuses of the facility and making sure that we still have it available to all residents and not just to free events. Any questions about the policies or concerns or comments?
I have a question. Why is Saturday night $500 than Friday or Sunday night?
Just because that's going to be the highest volume day. Typically Saturday is when most events are occurring and when most people want to rent it. So most of the venues we've compared to, their highest price is going to be on that day. So we've just aligned this in the same format, just because that's usually the most high demand day to rent it.
You have questions, comments? Am I good with it? Okay. Drop down to item B, request from the Regional Transportation Council for the City of Everman to adopt a locally enforced motor vehicle idling restriction resolution. Craig Spencer, item 22090.
The mayor and I both received a letter from the Regional Transportation Council regarding the request essentially for city council to adopt an ordinance restricting idling of vehicles. I just needed to get a consensus from council if you so wish to pursue adopting an ordinance. If so, I will forward this for review to the attorneys and we'll get it back to you for adoption.
What do you mean idling?
Essentially, it's going to limit the ability for people to leave their vehicles idling, and particularly in public places.
So if I
So-
go to the park and I'm sitting there playing Pokemon, I have to turn my car off.
Yes, ma'am.
How long can your car sit and be idling without breaking a law?
Well, I don't, that would be up to you.
No.
You would be the one to put that within the ordinance. They're just asking that we adopt some regulation associated and limiting vehicle idling times. So it would be up to you if you wanted to make that a 15-minute idling, a 30-minute idling, or maybe council just prefers to adopt a resolution showing support against leaving vehicles idle. This request isn't for me. Just keep that in mind.
Understood.
This is one that's gonna be hard to enforce,
It's going to be nearly impossible.
but there's funds that involved with, when we're asking for money, that it just behoove us to have it in place.
So how would that affect police, fire, and EMS?
Well, we're gonna have to be exempt. We can't turn off the fire truck while we're fighting fires, unfortunately, and police cars on
No.
crime scenes and that kind of stuff. But
But
I can tell you
ambulances-
with gas prices the way they are right now, we're telling them to turn them off whatever they can anyway. So I think it's kind of funny, the timing on this letter in the gas prices, but I mean, there's gonna have to be times that we continue to leave our vehicles idle.
I do
If it's an emergency vehicle, it's gonna be hard to comply with that for emergency vehicles and public work vehicles as well. And not every resident's gonna be able to comply with something like this either. So there's
Is
gonna be
Okay,
extenuating circumstances.
Is this something that every city is participating in?
There, most of
being
the cities that I've read, they're just pushing out support and campaigns for, to try to limit idling, support clean air, support the environment, those sorts of resolutions.
but
I
they're
haven't
not
seen an
actually,
actual ordinance
thank you.
yet that actually is enforceable on this.
Okay, if this is just my personal opinion and I'm already honked off about this. I think we just need to, if there's money involved, the almighty dollar bill, and we need to do something for, who's running this, TCOG?
Regional Transportation. Council.
Yes, the big guys.
Which that's
So-
one of their things is air quality.
Yeah, of course it is.
So
So I think we need to do the bare minimum so that we still get their money, but we're not passing something that somebody's sitting there idling and somebody gets knocked on the window. You've been here 12 minutes. I'm sorry, you're breaking a law. This is government regulation beyond belief.
All agree.
Oh,
The other portions of this that we could pursue to try to limit this is that they highlighted within the letter is we can post some signage that talks about or discourages idling. We can
Library
install and
sign.
implement electric vehicle parking spaces, those sorts of things to try to
Yes.
encourage electric vehicles.
yes.
I mean, there's other alternatives we can look
Thank
at.
you.
I just need to know a consensus from council on how you would like me to proceed, if at all proceed, with the request from the Regional Transportation Council.
I'm not supporting an ordinance or whatever that says we have to shut our vehicles down. I'm not supporting that.
Okay,
And that's just me.
I agree.
well, I'm in agreement, but I feel like we need to do something because
That's what I said.
RTC is throwing a lot of money. our
Whatever
way
we
for
need,
Forest
the
Hill Drive.
bare minimum, okay.
So, but let's keep them happy at the same time. So
And we can put, please shut your car off or whatever on the library sign. Or we can put something in the water bill. There's lots of ways to
I
encourage
think gas
people.
prices is handling a lot. of it.
And you bet. But if we need to show support of it for the transportation weenies, then let's give them what they want. But I just refuse to tell drivers you have to shut your engine down. I'm already mad at those new cars that shut down at the stop sign and then start back up.
Still down and start back up.
I hate
Then you got
that.
Problems with the people complaining, well, my car doesn't start back up.
everybody feel the same way?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my understanding is council wants to show support of the effort for air quality and so forth. So you
Absolutely.
would like a least restrictive resolution that exhibits that support and other efforts.
Absolutely.
Okay, on it. Thank you, ma'am. That's
You're
what I
welcome.
needed to know.
Yeah.
We just want to be cheerleaders.
We'll be lots of cheerleaders.
Okay,
I'll
next
even
item,
Try to smile.
item A is consideration of possible action. Item A, approve resolution 2022-03-03 Resolution by the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, appointing a Capital Improvements Advisory Committee for the 2022-2032 Land Use Assumptions and Capital Improvements Plan for Water and Sanitary Sewer, and to provide recommendations for implementation of impact fees and providing an effective date. Item 22093. I'll go and entertain a motion.
I move we approve item 22093 as
Second.
read.
Second, Judy?
Yes.
Okay, guys, motion and seconded.
This resolution is associated with the impact fee study that Cobb Finley and Associates have been performing for us. There is a portion of the legal process with implementation of impact fees that requires us to officially appoint by resolution a capital improvement advisory board. If you recall, when we began capital improvement planning, the Planning and Zoning Commission was assigned and tasked with the duties of providing that initial review. So I've just made the recommendation that we continue that, and the names that are listed within this resolution are the current members of the Planning and Zoning Board. Since they're already pretty well involved with the process and are familiar with the process, I think they would be the best team to be able to review this and perform that function.
Have they
Do they know
agreed?
this?
Have they agreed to this?
They will. They're already performing our capital improvement plan reviews. They're on board with capital improvement planning, and they do enjoy being a part of that process.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
Okay, but
So
you haven't
this is-
told them
this is
before
all-
you're putting them on.
This is all looped into what we've already been doing. We just have to
Okay.
officially appoint it by resolution,
Okay.
not just by committee appointment.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
So we have to have their names on there?
Yes.
So what happens if somebody steps down? We have to do a new one every time somebody is added to it?
Yes. This, we won't
can't
have,
just name the
we
committee?
won't have to update this once the impact fees are adopted, which will hopefully be within the next 90 to
Okay.
120 days. So
Alright.
this is just a part of that legal process associated with impact fees.
Okay.
So if I didn't catch the answer. So if one of those guys backs out or gets off the committee for whatever reason, then we have to do this again?
If it's prior to the adoption of the impact fees, then yes, we will have to adopt a new resolution and include that new member on there.
Okay, when
If
is that
it's-
gonna
If
happen?
it's hopefully within the next 90 to 120
Okay, that's what you
days.
said. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
If it's after the adoption of
Yes.
the impact fees, then no, the council will be able to appoint the members to that committee, just like you. always
okay, okay.
So it's capped at 5. They have to have 3 for a quorum.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Okay,
it is a
so,
very active board. All members on there are active participants.
Okay.
okay, so we're approving the board and we're also approving the fees. Is that correct?
No, not tonight. Tonight, you're just approving the board. This resolution is just appointing the board to do the initial review. The fees will come back to you after this board has reviewed everything and made a recommendation to council to approve the fees.
Okay, so so if we want other things added to the capital improvement list or whatever, when does that occur?
Typically, right before budget, we're going to start that process here within the next couple of weeks. Once this board is appointed, we'll begin reviewing our annual capital improvement plan, as well as the capital improvement plan that we're about to talk about on the next agenda item that is associated strictly with water and sewer, with the land use assumptions.
Any other questions?
No.
Hold the council.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item B, approve resolution 2022-03-02, a resolution by the city council, of the city of Everman, Texas, scheduling a public hearing to consider adoption of land use assumptions and a capital improvements plan for water and sanitary sewer, under which an impact fee may be imposed within the city, directing the city secretary to publish notice of said public hearing, and directing the impact fee advisory committee to consider recommendations on the water, sanitary sewer, land use assumptions, and capital improvements plan, item 22092. It's a mouthful.
I'll make a motion to approve item 22092 as read.
A second.
Motion made and seconded.
You don't want to read that again, Mr. Dennison?
No, I don't want to read that
I
again.
don't blame you. This resolution is not approving fees. Let me be very clear. This resolution is only approving the scheduling of a public hearing to adopt the attached land use assumptions and capital improvement plan associated only with water and sewer. The public hearing requires a 30-day posting. So if council approves the resolution tonight, we will post it tomorrow for a public hearing that'll be scheduled on April 19th. We will then host a public hearing where the public will be allowed to comment and provide feedback on the land use assumptions and capital improvement plan. And then council will be able to make a decision following that public hearing on whether or not to adopt the land use assumptions and capital improvement plan. Once this is adopted, then it will return to the advisory board that was just created for them to perform a final review. The study of the impact fees will be completed, and we will schedule another public hearing with a 30-day notice to come back and adopt these fees, hopefully in May is the target. Okay. Couple things I just want to highlight within the land use assumptions and capital improvement plan, because this is a pretty big deal for the city. So I would strongly encourage you to thoroughly read through this and make sure we understand. One of the things that you may notice is that the service area is actually bigger than the city.
Yeah.
If you'll notice, the area down here on the far southeast corner, that is actually our extraterritorial jurisdiction, our ETJ. So that is calculated in here because we do have the ability to annex that land within the future. That is a possibility for future growth. Therefore, that calculates into the numbers when it's involved with the impact fee study. So you will now see that that area is included within our land use assumptions in the studies that we did.
Okay.
It's not saying we're annexing that. It's just saying that that's being calculated in the event the city ever does decide to grow or has an opportunity to grow, and we do annex that land. We need to make sure that we're calculating the growth there and the impact that that may have on our community and how we're
Okay.
going to assess those impacts. On page 10, you'll see project priorities. This project priorities list was compiled with input from the city engineer and our director of public works, Mr. Ramirez, on what projects they felt were going to be the most impactful in the imminent future. So those projects came from them directly. The rest of it is just a result of the study and some statistical data about our booster pumps, the capacity, the water wells, and performance rating, and what we have to do to comply with TCEQ, those sorts of things. So I will have Cobb Finley, the engineer's office that is compiling this report. They will be here on the meeting on April 19th. So if you have any questions, detailed questions about the report, I'll have the right person here to answer those questions for you.
Couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
This may seem like a silly one, but what does land use assumptions? What's the assumption part mean?
We have to make assumptions on what the expectation of growth and the future is for the city to be able to determine what the impact fee is going to be. So we have to, using our best knowledge and engineering practices, if we know that there's a potential of us annexing land, or we know within 5 years we're going to have a development come in here, we need to be planning for that.
Okay.
And that factors in the cost of the infrastructure there, actually factors into what that impact fee rate is going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
So all those calculations come in, they say, okay, the city is looking to plan and grow a residential subdivision in this area. It's going to cost this much money to be able to put in the infrastructure for that. Therefore, we need to begin assessing the impact fee for all these new taps at this rate. If they do a calculation in accordance with engineering standards to find out what that rate is going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have to do our best to assume,
That's,
and I hate that word, but we have to do our best to assume what the next 10 years is going to look like
Okay.
for the city.
that's what I thought it meant, but never
Has
heard
to
to
be.
check. Yeah. Okay. On that bottom line, it says Impact Fee Advisory Committee. Who is that?
That will be the same committee that was already appointed, but we have to adopt the land use assumption
Okay,
first. So we'll come back with another resolution appointing them once this is first adopted.
Okay.
There is a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Whole council?
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item C, approve interlocal agreement between the city of Everman and Tarrant County, Texas for the reconstruction of Christopher Drive within the city of Everman and authorizing the city manager to execute said agreement. Item 22088.
I'll make a motion to approve item 22088.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, I've got a question. When do we anticipate doing this work?
So let me start with this, as we approached the commissioner's office about this and requested emergency assistance based off the complaints we had received and the condition of the roadway following the water installation, the water
Yes.
lines. The commissioner has been more than generous and has agreed to contribute $97,000 of his discretionary money to do this, which means that we only have to contribute $20,000. Initially, we were under the belief we were going to have to contribute $73,000. We have the funds to be able to contribute to that and to be able to do this. He is pushing this at the top of his list and anticipates after the adoption of this tonight that they can begin construction before the end of the month.
Okay.
Christopher.
Okay, my concern with that is, we're still, Enon is still working, all that construction north of Enon. Are we going to have any more big trucks going up and down Christopher? Because
We should not have any trucks going up and down Christopher. If that's the case, we need to make sure our police department's out there enforcing
Okay,
that. So
'cause
we will
I've
take an
seen
enforcement stance from that,
big trucks.
but they should not be going up and down Christopher. That is a
Right.
no truck route. They need to be approaching from Oak Grove Road on Enon
Mhm.
or off of Wichita if they're coming into the city.
Right.
They do not need to be coming up.
Okay.
Christopher. So we'll need to address that from a enforcement standpoint.
Okay,
My concern with delaying this project is the road is badly deteriorated.
yes.
And it's doing nothing but getting worse. We're in the springtime. We're about to see a lot of rainfall coming up. So, well, hopefully, if we get out of the drought, we'll see the spring storms coming through. And I think that's just going to make the road conditions worse if we don't address it soon.
Was this not, were they not already working on Christopher?
No, ma'am, Christopher wasn't on the radar because we had the water line projects on there
Mhm.
before. And since they went through there, the road wasn't too bad until the water contractors went in and dug up several portions of the road and then dumped their materials on the road. The equipment has completely deteriorated that road beyond a condition that's repairable. We had planned on doing this one within the next 3 to 5 years, but after the water construction project, we need to address that road
Yes.
right away. It's
With
bad.
the reconstruction, will they be putting the new adjustments that we had discussed previously?
With the signage and
Yes.
and the line, yes, yes. So with every road construction project that we do now, when we present the budget numbers, we are including cost for all new signage, all new striping, everything across the board on that street. So every new street that you see us do from here forward, we'll have all new posts, everything will be brand new across. the
Well,
street.
I mean, for the water to drain.
Not on Christopher. We don't have drainage issues on Christopher. The water tends to drain off Christopher very well. The problem that we have is the amount of water that comes on. It doesn't really retain on Christopher, but it does drain well. It's just such a large volume that has traditionally come from north of Enon. But now that they've done the grading over there, we should not see that this year. There should be a significant drop in the amount of water that flows down Christopher since they.
But I thought we had decided going forward, any new projects that that would be added.
If it has a drainage issue. Christopher's not one that has a drainage issue. Race is certainly one that has a drainage issue. Christie, the area directly on the south side where the flooding issues were, those certainly have an issue. We'll need to put in an MS4 system there before we do a road project. Christopher does not have a massive drainage issue. It drains well because it drains to the south into the creek on Everman Parkway. It's just a matter of how much gets there at one point. And I think we've solved that issue with the grading that's occurred on north of Enon.
Mhm. I'll believe that when I see it.
That's my hope. It's pretty low. If you drive down Enon and take a look, we should not have the drainage issues we had coming off this development that we had before.
Well, it used to be all ground and which soaked up a lot of water. And then when it rained so much, the water started standing, it floods down Christopher because Christopher's downhill. And then it does drain well at Christopher and Everman Parkway. But when there's that much water, the cars float over the water. It's a lot of water. And all of those big warehouses they're putting in, I know that the people are putting in 2, I think,
Yes.
retention ponds. It's just that still thousands of acres, okay, hundreds of acres of soil that's no longer soil. And
Right.
it's like Lake Baxter at the junior high. Oh yeah, it's deep enough. And then the first big rain we had, it came up and over the street, flooded the post office and all those houses. But they dug it deep enough. They swore, but they didn't. So
I'm
I'm,
the farthest thing from a
I'm waiting.
hydrologist. I can tell you water runs downhill. That's about all that.
it does, right. Okay,
Any other discussion?
April showers.
Poll the council.
Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Executive session, we don't have anything. So next item is city manager's report.
Progress is still moving on the Civic Center across the street. Things are trucking right along. You'll see the brickwork is starting to go up. If you haven't seen it, you can see it out there. You'll see progress there. Windows are going in this week, and we should have doors going in next week. The biggest delay has still been the fire suppression system. I believe that most of which has passed the planning portion and the plans have been approved. We're waiting on the vault, which is essentially the control for the water flow to the building. That has to be installed. That has to be custom made and shipped. We were told 4 to 6 weeks, and that was about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So as soon as that arrives, and we know when that arrives, they're going to begin the work on installing the sprinklers and the lines and all that. We will have to do another open cut here on Race Street for them to tap that line, but we'll take care of the repairs and all that associated with it. But hopefully within the next couple of weeks, that should be here, and we can begin really trying to finish everything out. That's been the big holdup is the fire suppression system. So they've been trying to do all the small things inside. Drywall is complete inside. They've been working on taping and bedding and brickwork and trying to get a lot of the finishings done. The problem is they can't do the ceiling until the fire suppression system is in, and then they can go in and finish up the ceiling. So things are progressing very well with the Civic Center. The lighting at the Memorial Park is completely installed. We are just now waiting for Encore to perform the connections and complete the drop. So we'll have power over there, but the lighting is all installed. Being Electric took care of that. And there's 25 additional bricks have been installed this week as well over there. So
New flags.
new flags, yes.
They look
Yes.
nice.
There's still a few missing that we're trying to locate, but there are new flags. There. Yes, ma'am. Related to Bluebell and Wisteria, we have had a lot of sewer line issues. Gilbert has been identifying several issues related to our sewer infrastructure. I think we're at a tipping point where our water systems are now getting to be at a decent point that's maintainable, and now we're going to have to start addressing our sewer infrastructure. I think it's been we haven't been keeping up with it over the years the way it needs to be kept up with. We just had to order an emergency repair at the intersection of Forest Hill and Enon, which affects that section actually feeds the neighborhood at Bluebell and Wisteria. There was a complete severed line. The line collapsed completely underneath Enon. They just performed that repair and finished the concrete work and replacing it yesterday. So we should see improvements in Bluebell and Wisteria. They're doing testing this week as well. One of the biggest problems that we've got is that our jet vac truck or trailer, actually the jet vac trailer has not been functional since the winter storm. It suffered significant damage. The pumps and things have all blown up in them.
They froze.
Yeah, froze. And so we don't have a functional jet vac truck. So Public Works has been relying heavily on the support of other entities such as Fort Worth, and Gilbert has friends with other municipalities that have been coming out here and helping us out. But we're kind of wearing out our welcome with that, how often they've been utilized. So Gilbert's working on trying to come up with a plan and getting us some pricing and things. That's probably going to be one of the top capital improvement items that we're going to have to address with this next budget is getting a new jet vac trailer of some sort. But he's working on continuing to identify the sewer issues, so hopefully we can begin addressing those. I think we're going to have a shift from focusing on water to focusing on sewer for a while. Other than that,
The Columbine well,
yes, so they requested an extension. Something happened with their company that they ended up being short-staffed for a while. I don't know if it was COVID or what, but they did request a 30-day extension. That puts them at the end of this month. So they should be completely done by the end of this month. We did grant them that extension based off the recommendation from the engineer. So they should be completed by the end of the month. And that well will be operational. We'll hopefully be out of there with all the equipment and construction. Same thing with the new water storage tank behind the police department, next to Hansberger. They have already poured the foundation for the new water storage tank. Hopefully the water storage tank will be in within the next month, so they can get that installed and operational as well. And then we can return to normal and move all of our vehicles back into the back lot there. So,
I've been watching them from upstairs at Hummel. I go up there and look out and just kind of watch them tear the thing down and build. It's interesting.
they made a lot of racket.
The kids didn't notice.
Do you want to touch on everybody having to be re-sworn in? And
Yes, I can. We do need to, we discovered that all elected and appointed officials need to complete an anti-bribery statement that's required by the Secretary of State's
Let's do
office. This was not something that we were aware of. This is not something even our attorney's office was aware of. We just kind of stumbled upon it by accident. And when I asked the attorney, he kind of looked at me sideways and said, let me find out. And he did some research and said, well, never heard of it, but apparently we have to do it. So we're going, this is not widely
Oops.
known. This is not widely known. So technically that anti-bribery statement has to be completed prior to the swearing in. So we're going to complete anti-bribery statements for all elected and appointed officials and then re-swear everybody in to make sure that we're legal. It doesn't mean that we're not legal now. They just
Understood.
want that.
Just crossing a T.
Yes, that is
Gotcha.
correct. So we'll be completing those probably at the next city council meeting.
Okay. I'll dress up for that.
next thing, mayor report, I don't have anything, so nothing that Craig had already gone over, so like we have passed that on to you. So
Yeah,
It's not on the agenda, but could I make a plug for a local business? Would that be, maybe I should do it after we bang the gavel?
Maybe.
Okay,
I think so.
I have nothing to say then.
Okay, and time is 7:11. We are adjourned.
All right.